Yeah, with all the aluminum levels skyrocketing. Todd Harrington told me, and now he's becoming more vocal about it. He's been doing parts per million testing since the 90s alongside all the microscopy work. And he said all over America, uniformly, aluminum levels have like skyrocketed, hockey sticked on all measures.
Why?
Um, I mean, he thinks it's from spraying.
Geoengineering. Yeah.
And I mean, I think we have confirmation from RFK. I think we've got confirmation from whistleblowers now. It is not, you know, conspiracy theory to say that they were doing what, all right. And so I
We're
grew
at
up
the
in
point. We're at the
Connecticut.
point. We're at the point where, for some of these things, if someone calls you a conspiracy theorist, it makes them look naive, because
Yeah.
I mean we've got a bill passed Tennessee and Idaho and a couple of state legislatures making geoengineering illegal. So why would yeah, the point of place of calling that times of calling geoengineering with spraying aluminum a conspiracy theory are long past.
Yeah. I grew up with my
But
mom telling those guys who were spraying the skies to make rain to take a hike because they had enough rain in in Connecticut, and because these guys moved out from west. They were cloud seeding started in the 40s, right? And so they just
yeah,
started moving west. And they started looking for cheaper and cheaper particles to add to the aerosolizer so that they could do this work at a lower and lower cost for them. And so my mom, like, I grew up with my mom telling me, like, oh, these bozos are trying to sell us rain. And I'd be like, what do you mean? She'd be like, ah, they can make it rain. And it's like, ah.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
knew about all this from a very young age.
yeah.
The idea of where it gets off page is whether they're intentionally like trying to poison us. I mean, they definitely are they are definitely poisoning us, whether it's intentional or not. That's where
Right.
it becomes like no one has any idea right now. Maybe we'll
Well,
be another whistleblower soon, but
where they really got my attention, in kind of a major way is, I remember. I think it was either. I think it might have been 2012, the 2012 or 13. 2012 was a major drought. I don't remember whether it was July of that year or the year following, but one of those years was very dry spring, and I had lots of friends and people that we were working with throughout the Midwest. And at one point, within a couple of days, I get half a dozen phone calls from people across Iowa, like, what is going on? Our cornfields are gray. They literally were talking about their corn being an off gray color that they had never observed before. And one of my friends scraped this residue off of his truck, scraped it off his windshield, collected a teaspoon of powder, put it into a bag, and shipped it to a lab to have it analyzed. And I forget the exact proportions, but it was primary aluminum with a hefty dose of barium and some other elements in there as well. And yeah, that crop did was not very enthusiastic about whatever had been applied to it. So were they attempting to break the drought? The exact details of the timing on that, I have it back in my records because there was some electronic communication around that. But it was a pretty interesting phenomenon, that was for sure.
this is all about accountability to me. I mean, it's like if you have an industry where you can't like hold people accountable or verify results or like, because I mean that farmer has no recourse.
Right.
And so there's no true accountability for the people applying that, nor do the people paying them are we don't know who they are, so we can't hold them accountable. It's wild, and it's not the way it should be. There's so many things like that now, but I really think that that's in part of the reason we're in the situation that we're in with agriculture in so many different ways is the fact that we don't have clear communication feedback pathways that allow for us to hear each other and see each other clearly and understand the consequences of our actions and monitor also the overspill reactions from other people. And if we had that, I think just starting there, you would have a completely different environment. You'd have people who would think twice before spraying something, think twice before, treading on other people's freedom. And then you'd have a lot of people who are rise, just quiet, humble people who've been doing the work, who would rise and be exemplars. And I see that, happen at Acres, at Eco Ag. I see that those exemplars rise. And going back to the beginning, it's like the reason we love those events, the reason we love